People, what's up? What's up? Wholeness and balanced vibrations. What's good? All right, so let's see if this thing works today. Let me see. Let me cut this off. Turn me up. Turn this down. And I'm going to let it breathe for a minute because it's going to be explosive, man. Don't get your feelings hurt today. Like, I'm going to bring it full balance. Don't hang up if something happens. You hear something and it just shoots that arrow right into you. Just let it soak in like acupuncture and get ready to get lit. So I'm going to take a break for a moment and, see if this old dinosaur steam engine called YouTube is able to get itself up to par. Let me see, green and red. Let's see, display the live area only. Yeah, let's do that. The live area only. Okay. And then as we always do about this time, I want you to let me know if you're hearing me loud and clear before I take off. Because once I take off, I'm not stopping. And it's going to be on point today. Like I said, I'm going in a rare form. Like I always, I do what I do. I work with synchronicities and I see what the universe is saying. This is what we need you to do. I work for the cosmos. So at that stage, you just channel in, the vibrational frequency of the overall collective of humanity. And then you summarize that based on your linguistic system and your talents. And that's what I'm doing right now today. And I'm going all the way in. This is going to be the last show of the year for us. So, we're not going out. We're going in with an implosion, not out with a bang. So let's see here. All right, I got my notes over here. Give me some guidelines. Let me check back in the chat, see if, okay, everybody's saying they hear me. Okay. Yes. All right, so let me get my notes queued up here and get ready to spit these scrumptious morsels for us all to feast upon in this celebration of self. I would like to say also, this is live. Live recordings, they don't have post-production. So that means anything that goes on while it's live is recorded and on the mic for everybody. I can't confirm that Nightbot is working right now, so the giveaways will be happening today. We got 10 gifts. The original is coming through today. I was going to say Santa Claus, but who knows what all that means. But the original giving gifts is happening today. Let me go ahead and pause this over here so we're not taking up bandwidth. Get my notes up here, so I'm looking up in the top of the cranial, when I'm getting that inspiration for, where we should go with this next. And first and foremost, let me cut this fan up a little bit. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. All right. It's going to get hot in here. And then it's going to cool down. So that's what it is today. It's going to be about really traveling all of the centers. And instead of the normal Q&A that we have going on, I actually have something prepared for you today, special delivery. And before we get into this, though, I want us all to clear out a lot of the staleness. And clear out the sales is what I'm saying. And clear out the sales and get rid of the stale wind. Like all these words are almost like the same for a reason. So how we're going to do that is first, we're going to send some commands to the body. We're going to send some commands to the yantra or the machine. Like the body is the yantra, and we'll explain that here in a moment. But one of the commands is just raise your hands up like this. Okay, raise your hands up, right? And what that's going to do is it's like you won something. Let's say, for instance, you went to a competition, you prepare for 2-3 years, to really excel in this performance. And it just so happens that you won. All that good work paid off. And now they're handing you that trophy or, that libation or whatever it is. And when you receive it, of course, you're not going to be there like, you're all bored and dull, like you've done nothing. You're going to raise up your hands and you're going to say, in your consciousness, because that's what it does, I got this. I achieved this. So I want those that are there, I can't see you. So we do this Ambassador Tribe. I can see everyone. I can't see you. So raise up your hands. Give yourself 15, 20 seconds of that, And also take a deep breath in. and let it out. Let it all the way out. Letting it all the way out. All the way out. And that's 3 times to get rid of all of the stale soul you got going on. That stale soul just accumulating in the corners of your body. And get ready to breathe in this fresh new aspect of self. Remember that what the soul is the soul is life. You know, we have life in us. We run around, we think, we move, we do. And this is the symbols and the signs of the soul. So we're giving reverence to the soul. And we're also mixing this up and getting ready to receive because, you know, this is it. It's 2020. We on the bridge. I'm not playing. Like, you know, a lot of folks just talking. And then, you know, I want to address that very briefly. And I just want to say, you know, I listen to a lot of folks out there. And, you know, because I'm always taking in information. I'm always listening. I'm always looking for people to put in as specialists or metaphysical advisors. I'm always looking for shows to put into, you know, more conscious networks, which are on the website. That's our directories that we allow others to get they shine on and actually give them some visibility. And I've been listening, though, and I keep hearing this rhetorical statement coming from a lot of the folks giving the message, you know, and I'm even watching myself to see, you know, how much are you doing that? Let's weed that out of the whole thing. And it keeps saying, people need to wake up. People need to wake up. These people need to wake up. Humanity needs to wake up. And it's almost like the host needs to wake up because the reality is that, first of all, if somebody's listening to you, they're already woke. OK, so the people that you're actually talking to, they're not even hearing you. That's number one. OK, that's just introspection. What are we doing here? And also, wake up to what? Wake up to you haven't built anything yet. Wake up to that you still been talking. Wake up to you've been vainly reciting just all this spiritual knowledge coming from all over the place. Messiahs, Confucius, Rumi. You know, just because you could take a couple quotes from 2,000 years ago and throw them on your Instagram, nobody read them, and you sound like you're wise, doesn't get anything done. It just doesn't. This is how news works, actually. News does this. News' design is to tell you about things and waste your time from doing anything about it. Okay? It's like everybody sitting there watching the news like, wow, they just start just impacted by what's going on in the news. They're just like, bam, oh my goodness, this is happening. Oh my goodness, this is happening. But all that time that you're wasting watching the news, that should be the time spent in building. So personally, what I do and what this tribe does is we always make sure that we're engaged in the building aspects of what's going on and what needs to be done in this reality. And we mix that in with the message. I hope that's what everybody is doing. Because other than that, we'll just end up like everybody else for the last who knows how long. The human condition and what goes on and what we even just went through has been going on for countless periods of time and will continue to go on. I'm going to show you that today. Some are be talking about, it's going to be the end. What are you talking about? Maybe we haven't gone into the same planes of unity. Maybe we haven't seen truly what the world consists of and how it's put together. And I can admit that, you know, after 10 years of continuously saying some of the same things over and over again, but also figuring out ways to actually bring in new archetypes and new blueprints that explain that same thing to us, right? Like I always say, you know, if somebody's not learning, don't blame the person, blame the teacher. The proof of wisdom is in the type of people that it produces. Like, how is that message coming across? And are people actually able to adapt to that message in their time? This is 2019. Right? So we have all sorts of stuff going on out here now. We got this AI, we got these TVs, we got these cell phones. You know, there's all this different levels. We got the Wikipedias, we got the WikiLeaks, we got all this information. But where is the application? And does somebody need to pause for a moment on just yap, and figure out like, okay, so how do we build it? When the solution needs to be brought forth, what should it look like? Okay. And I can only talk like this. It's a great way to talk. It's a great way to feel. I can only talk like this because I actually spent time in doing it, but it is tough. So I can definitely see why, just like anything else, like if you say, oh, I got to go wash them clothes and that clothes pile is all the way up to the roof, you like, well, I'll wash clothes tomorrow. And you proceed to throw more dirty clothes. Oh, I got to wash the car and the car's got all this dirt and mud and everything. You don't got the right supplies and everything. I'll wash the car tomorrow. Or even the new one, I'm going to get somebody to wash the car. I'm going to get somebody to wash the clothes for me. You see what I mean? So we have to realize that our efforts And this reality is really what is all of what's controlling our Taurus, what's all controlling our Merkaba, if you may. Our efforts are what control that. Like, this thing does not go on autopilot once you get it out of control and once you start coming off the path. Now, I will say this. I had to make a trip over the last 48 hours. I actually had to leave, home base and go out into the city to take care of something that just had to be done. And I'm looking at the days and I'm like, no, not on the winter solstice, new moon. That's when I'll be traveling back. And, it is what it is. So I made my journey. And as I'm coming back, I kid you not, I had to witness at least 3 fatalities. Whatever goes on with the, well, we know what goes on with the energy, but winter solstice is, for many people, their conclusion date. Like, they die on winter solstice. They meet the fates, okay? And I'm going to tell you what the fates are. They come off track because generally, like, the road is like a track. And then they come off track because they're not paying attention to what's going on in their lives and what's happening around them. And then they come off track and they meet their fate. You come off track too far, you meet your fate. So I want to really summarize the wisdom that we've been producing for the last 10 years into something very, very astringent. So that way you can see exactly how this works. So you can never say, well, Secret Energy, Seven Bomar, and all the rest of the tribe, they didn't tell us. Now, we've been telling you, and now we're going to tell you one more again, because 2020 is upon us. I'm already in 2020, by the way. Like, I'm not waiting on the 31st. Even today is another synchronistic lineup. It's the 22nd. I love 22nds. That's my day of my birthday, so I always feel like I'm entering another epoch when I hit one of these 22nds. And then also we have this eclipse going on at the same time that most of these folks will be ho-ho-hoing, spending up all their money and their cash. I saw an ad today on the on Reuters or whatever, and it said, the biggest financial year ever. And then it had a question mark behind it, like, but we've been reporting recessions all year. How is this the biggest financial year ever? And it's just because there's so much money in print and it's just being distributed. Like I said, the repo market is distributing billions of dollars to the bank every day. They've never had to do this. Somebody is pulling out so much money. I'm sure it's coming from the crypto space and all those who figured out how to wire in them robots properly in China and all the stuff they got going on, the back doors and the keys and the private keys with the linked holes and the CIA and all that. They did figure out a way to basically open up again what they had open during the time of when the WikiLeaks happened, where the Panama Papers came out and all these different whistleblowing documents came out about how many different bank accounts and back doors were open into the bank. So this basically meant that from what was on paper that the oligarchs had taken to having these back doors in the banks. And when they wanted to create a bank account, they would just say, okay, John Smith. And then they would just type in the amount of number that John Smith would have. And then they would go over to Monaco and just buy a boat with the money that they had just put in there on the digits, because that's what it is. And then cryptocurrency, which is supposed to be what they call that? It's trustless. Okay, that's the real term, trustless. You don't need to trust it. But there's a bunch of cryptos out there that you actually can't trust. Even Tether, they still haven't reported where they're even backing this by. They're not being audited. So this means someone's able to go back behind the scenes and hit 1,000 and then a bunch of zeros, a Googleplex of zeros, and then sell those tokens off like it's like a casino or a slot machine. Let me go sell you some tokens for your energy. Okay. And all of this, remember, these technologies are very powerful. So I'm not just saying that, oh, they're here to doom us. I'm just saying anything that has power could either be used to build or destroy in a massive way. Okay. So that's why there's always fear around things like that. I know some folks just tripped out when they saw the cryptocurrency. It's the end of the world, because they feel the power of it, but they don't realize it's that same thing all over again. Either you use that power, like let's say even nuclear power. You put that thing together properly, put the rods in the proper place, get your iridium clean and the uranium clean and all that. That thing can power an entire city indefinitely, no power bills. Okay? Or you can one-waft somebody and shoot this thing up in the air and blast out an entire country. It's just based on the intellect. So I'm not trying to fault technologies, which is anything external to us. Technologies for what has befallen mankind and woman. Once again, I'm looking at the teachers and the instructors. And because we're on the cusp of the realization of total power, which is coming under the guise of singularity. We're seeing the as below metaphysical aspects of what's going to happen next, that we are going to touch self, that the two divided sides inside of the consciousness are now going to meet. Matter and antimatter are going to join together, and either there's going to be a big fight and someone's going to lose again, and there's going to be a debilitation and then an abortion and all of what goes on with this continuous cycle that we see, all taking place in each form of consciousness resident on this plane and multiple planes that are outside the field that I'm going to explain to you today. So, all right, looks like we got a chance to let it breathe. Sending much love, wholeness, and balance out to the moderators, holding space inside the chat. Thank you so much. You also see Nightbot dip in and out from time to time, dropping links. Definitely check out those links. Just save them at some point. We have our subscriber system going on, so if you'd like, subscribe, whatever, we'll actually see that notification in the corner of our screen. As you know, this has been 10 years. I got 100,000 views, 100,000 subscribers, 110,000 subscribers. Wow, whoopee-doo. When I look at what's happening, man, there's so many levels of filtration and unfairness that goes on in this reality. It's like instead of even trying to encourage these people to fix what they have going on, I just build my own stuff and then invite my own tribe into it and then let us expand that way. So the first thing that we have going on here today, now, as I said, for y'all that saw the announcement, we're giving out 10 gifts. So that's going to happen later on in the show. And again, I can confirm our system is working. So that'll be great to enjoy that time. But first, we got to go into a deep dive to actually talk about and not just talk about, but to actually embody what is common sense. But common sense ain't common. So we got to look into something that people should have saw this a while ago. We've been talking about this over and over again. But for some reason, remember, time, space, frequencies, all that also matters. Somebody could be telling you directly what you need to do. But can you comprehend it? And if not, sometimes it's just not your time. Sometimes it's just not going to be applied at that point. But then at certain moments, especially if everything is lining up for you, then you'll just get it. And then from that point on, it changes something inside of you. It flips a switch in the DNA. Something that was off is now on. Something that was on is now off. Just a flip of a couple dip switches. Okay, so first of all, we're going straight to 0 point. Okay, somebody said, get straight to the point. All right, so we're going to go straight to 0 point today. That's how we're going to do this. And the first thing I want to say is that, again, if we're on a road, if there's channels and there's a road and there's a path, like we use these terms a lot. I'm on the path. Oh, he's on the path. Okay, what are these paths? So let me show you what these paths are very briefly here. Roll my thing out here. Also, for those that are actually listening today, let's say you caught the podcast or whatever, I would recommend jumping onto the YouTube live channel and seeing episode 8 live or the archive, because there'll be images today and there's no way for me to get around, especially if I'm going to simplify this, using these images as a way for us to realize what exactly is going on. So first I'm going to show you the paths. Okay. Now it's often mentioned straight and narrow is the path. Okay. So what's happening here is that we have these 3 channels that have been known as the Pingala, the Ida or the Ida, and the Sushumna. Okay. And to make it very simple for those that don't like things complex, and let me make sure that it's hosting my image here. Yeah, it's hosting my image. You have these 2 channels on the left and the right, and we talked about this. This is like the left and the right side of the brain. And then we have this center channel, okay? Now, this is basic. So I'm explaining this in a basic way, so this should not confuse you. You have 3 channels inside of your body. One of them is actually responsible for bringing up the heat, while another one is responsible for bringing the cold. Okay? And one of those channels has always been likened unto the sun, which is actually in the base of the body. It's in the root chakra. It's around your sexual organ where all the fire is. Do you not feel the heat and the passion that comes from that? And then the other one that is based on the cooling is somewhere around the third eye or in the center of the head. And that is what is known as the moon or the subconscious or the cool, right? And so that's what these 2 channels stand for. And then we have this center channel, which is actually where we mix these two energies. And that's also a cognate of the center of the spine. So let me show you a few other diagrams that say that same thing. Because also your organs, which we know as the planets. Okay, remember the organs are the planets. They play a certain tone. There's a harmonics of the spheres. We talk about that with the golden ratio and the golden intonements and the whole ratio and the whole octaves, etc. And these are the sounds that come from the vibration and the oscillation of these organs functioning. When they function properly, they make a harmonic tone. Some call that 528 hertz. Okay, it's a harmonic. And when they're not functioning properly, it's like listening to an orchestra where a few instruments are out of tune. And also it's not pleasing when that happens. And it also causes a form of chaos. And I'll show you that it actually causes the production of an illusion of being separate. Okay, so but you see it here that there's a wisdom already. And this is why I said today, we're just going to go over what the ancestors applied. Now, because I could say the ancestor taught us, but the reality is that where are the ancestors now except for within us? So anybody that is coming to teach this, then they would be the ancestor teaching you. But it's more stomachable for many people to just know that, oh, no, this is how it's being applied. This is how it should be applied. This is what they applied. This is what the massive beings have done, and they're still out there in order to get, this is what they knew in order to get themselves into different spaces, whatever their objectives and agendas were. They knew this. This is the core knowledge, okay? Because this is how you steer your vehicle. Now, between these paths that I'm showing you here, these paths that you see here, and even if you drill in further, you get these, what I would say is micro paths. It's like they're like roads off the main highway. So everything about the consciousness is actually designed around having these different interlacing, what they call the horizontal and the vertical waters. We also know that in the torus field where 2 points intersect, that is where life is created. It just means that the two opposing forces where they intersect, there you will find life as you know it on planet Earth. And the reason why I'm bringing this up first is because you're going to need to keep this diagram inside of your own mind. You live in one, but you're going to need to keep this diagram inside of your mind every time you start thinking about why you should maintain balance. Okay? And this is because the whole art of occultism as it stands, occultism is only the art of balancing out the sun and the moon inside of your body. Okay, inside of your consciousness, to balance out the two poles. Now, just because you cannot balance them out doesn't mean that something is not going to happen. And this is what I'm going to get into right now. Here's also another ancient symbol before we dive into this, just to realize that these ancient symbols are virtually identical in their schools of thought. One itself being Hermetics and the other one itself being alchemy. That these two symbols are actually hinting to the same thing, that you have to understand each component, and we can use the caduceus because it's the most familiar that we're dealing with right now, that we have these two channels. So obviously in the caduceus, you have the two snakes. These are the two snakes, okay? Ida, Pingala, okay? And then also you have this center channel. That center channel is the Sushumna, okay? And then we have these wings up here, which you see wings also on the left in the Ankh, which is symbolic of you cannot get out of your body. You cannot fly. You cannot transcend from one who crawls upon the earth or actually is the earth, which you'll see here in a minute, versus one who traverses the heavens or has wings. And we even know that in biology, snakes eventually really evolve into being birds. Okay? The actual, let's say that's the scales of the snake become feathers of a bird when they have transcended. So this idea of transcending up the ladder of light is what we've all become to know as raising Kundalini. Okay? Because Kundalini is likened unto and is embodied in many cases by a serpent or a snake-like energy. Okay? And these are, when you say snake, there's so much that goes on with it. This is not your standard garden snake. This is not even just a dragon in itself. These are all metaphors for physical planes, wisdom, knowledge. That's why you see Hermes with this in his hand. So these symbols literally say that in the base or in the bottom or on the planets or on the plane exist the snakes. Okay? The physical form of existence. And as you rise up through these channels, which are the activations of the chakras, which is getting the glands and the organs functioning properly and in balance, and also learning how to use them. So let me pause here for just a brief moment. Remember, we talked about, like, what is the whole purpose of Earth anyway, right? And I dropped those jewels for anybody who wants to pick them up, because there's so many, oh, we're trapped, we're slaves, and, you know, and all that may have happened. But the original purpose here is for you to learn about your power, because you were given your power already. It was an inheritance. There was no way it could be kept from you. However, you don't know what you have. Just like if I have a child and that child has always been raised in a wealthy family, they don't know that they're rich. It's normal for them. They need to actually see poor first before they realize what rich is. So that's the contrast. That's actually why these planes were created. It's a universe. It's a university. It's a place to teach you lessons based on contrast. But the most important lesson is who you are and about your powers. And again, we talk about this descent of Anana, which is it's basically a code for flesh and all of the diabolical aspects of it too. But that Anana being stripped, earrings gone, you know, crown gone. This is the crown chakra. Robe gone. This is the awareness of the aura. All these things she was stripped of before she could come all the way down to the underworld and to actually begin to see her son. And what this is a metaphor of is that all of your powers and abilities have been hidden in a way. So that way, you can go through these experiences, like all of these traumas and things that you see on earth. Like you're going to be tested to have courage. You're going to be tested to love. And if you get through these tests, you will then get this reward. It was as simple as that. You go through the test, you get the reward. You go through the test, you get the reward, you unlock the ability. This is a role-playing game. All of the ideas that they're getting from these video games and even the computer and everything that you're seeing in the reality, there is really nothing new under the sun or nothing new in the soul. Okay? That's what that means. And so it's literally saying that, hey, this is a role-playing process where you're going to take on these characters called egos, and you're going to keep going through these experiences with the egos, and you're going to zigzag through your experience. Now, let me show you another diagram here very briefly, just to get it very clear for you on how elaborate this is. This is not a game, okay? Meaning that, well, it can be game-like, but meaning that they're not playing with you. Okay, on this diagram, what you're witnessing, and some may have to cock your head to the side, what you're witnessing is you're witnessing the Kabbalistic kingdom inside of the consciousness, which is also projected externally. Okay, this is the Cadman. This is also known as the Temple of Solomon. Okay, and while you're trying to zoom in and see the specifics and maybe fascinated by all the symbolism and all of that, as a snake is fascinated by shiny things, the easiest thing for you to understand is that every time you zigzag, when you zigzag out onto the left or the right of the system, you experience what is called the illusion, okay? Because the illusion is the illusion of separation. So very directly, how the world we're living in right now is created is it's created on pi and phi, okay? The world is created on pi and phi, okay? And what that is it's a curve or a spiral. Okay, did you not see those twine serpents zigzagging up the pole? That is the curve of phi. That's why they say the curve or phi produces this reality, and everything in the reality is adhering to that fractal code, right? But the power of pi and phi is that they are able to create this phenomena that henceforth never existed, which is the phenomena of separation. Okay, now this is why you see this apple, this bitten apple, right? Because we talked about how the apple is a symbol of the pentagram. Okay, so when you cut an apple in half and you open it up, you'll see it has 5 seeds in a perfect concave pentagram, as long as it hasn't been GMO'd. Okay, and what that is about is that map is actually the precession also of Venus, also known as the light bearer or life bearer, the lie of life, the illusion of separation. Now, again, let me desist here, because some minds are trying to figure out still which one to hate. And the only thing you'll find is yourself. If you start demonizing any of these components, well, I won't even use the word demonizing, because that word has its use too. If you start distorting anything that I'm saying by trying to find out which one's the good one and which one's the bad one, you're still acting like a kid. You're still a child. You haven't realized that the world is more complex than good and bad. That I can show you someone that has done things thinking that they were doing good, and it actually impacted people in what you feel like is a bad way. And then I can show you vice versa. Why? Because the knowledge tells us that between these two snakes, and generally when you see the drawings of these two snakes, one is white and the other one is black. But between these two snakes, they're both the same. And that's what many people don't get. They're still trying to polarize themselves on paths of preferences. Okay, so they're sitting off on one of these zigzags and sitting off in one of these kingdoms or chakras or planets that are polarized. They haven't actually brought the consciousness into the center to realize the power of creation. That's why I did this recent recording. If you haven't heard it yet, it's called The Master Key to the Matrix. Check it out. I'm just explaining this in layman's terms, that the last thing that you really learn here before you complete your degree here of being able to take the fire of this plane and realm and the temperatures of this plane and realm, the last thing that you actually receive. Give me one quick second here. Something's screwing up with the system. Give me 1 second here. Okay. All right. So anyway, there's just something going on. Just make sure I get the system correct here. But anyway, let me keep going. So now zigzagging, which is where we're at. So if you come out of balance, and let me just rewind here for a brief moment. Okay. Let's look at this really briefly. I want to back up here, because this is going to be short and sweet today. I don't think we'll even go over an hour and 15 minutes, but it's important that you see certain things about this, because it's an order here of magnitude. All right. So the first thing is to understand that actually the Taurus or the Sri Yantra or the Merkaba or the aura, whatever you want to call it, it wants to ground. Okay. Ground is synonymous with balancing. Okay. Because that's what a foundation is. Imagine having a foundation, or imagine trying to balance something, right? And the foundation is crooked. How can you do that? It's very difficult. So ground is synonymous with balance in the higher esoteric laws. So let me bring you a phenomena that goes on in nature. Hurricanes, okay? And I see some subscribers coming through, and the thing's just, going out really fast. So, hey. So a hurricane, okay? So when hurricanes come, if you look at this oblique spheroid, which is what the planet is, okay? Some people, they're still going over this process of trying to figure out if the earth is flat or not, okay? Because they're distracted. They're just reciting news again. The earth is an oblique spheroid. It looks like it's flat on both, on the top and on the bottom, and then it bulges out on the sides, okay? And when you look at that design, you find that the entry point of when the ionosphere, which is basically this upper hemisphere, when it's grounding out, because it wants to ground out. This is a big Merkaba, Taurus, Sri Yantra, Aura. This is a big one that we're also living in. This is why fractals work this way. You got one you're living in. We're living in one. Some states our nations are configured like that. Some cultures are configured like that. Some buildings are built like that. And in fact, a perfect master builder builds like that because they're trying to emulate something that is going to last a countless period of time, at least billions of years. So the closest that you can get it, okay, the closest that you can build something to this design, the longer that it will last. Okay, so the phenomena that happens here is that as this ionosphere begins to whip it up, because that's all this is, like on the top is whip it up energy, and on the bottom is ready to receive that energy. You know, this is the path of life and the creation of life. So they say that if you notice the points of, let's say, the tetrahedron on Earth, there is a common point or at least path of resistance that hurricanes always travel. They touch down right off the coast of Africa, and then they come up through that whole area, and the landmass of Africa continuously backs them off so they stay into the ocean, and then they come all the way up and around to the Caribbean, and then eventually they hit Tornado Alley and those kind of places, Florida and those kind of places, okay? And it's because what this hurricane, which is just energy, is looking for is it's looking to ground out. It needs to touch down and ground. So this is the same thing. Like recently I started getting affected by these migraines, and I was like, man, what's happening? It was like every time that I even started going into these high levels of meditation, I would start feeling like these headaches. And then also people were saying that they were getting shocked by me, like I was shocking them. And, you know, two and two together, not trying to make it all like it's all mystical all the time or mist or we can't see what's going on. I was generating so much electrical current, but I wasn't grounding out properly or taking the time to, you know, I, of course, walk on the ground and stuff like that, but I needed to actually strap down sometimes or actually literally discharge my field, especially after I build up the field. Like even right now when I'm talking, like I get hot and I feel the field picking up and it does this thing. But maintenance on the field is that it wants to ground out though, because if I just jump right off the line right now and I go into the world, it's like almost like I spin out of control. It's like I never really get ahead or behind of whatever I'm doing in the moment. It's like I'm just too like chaotic, like static electricity. And that's just because I picked up the field and I utilized it at that level, but then I forgot to ground it out. And then how that looks in the brain is the brain neurologically and all the telomeres and all this stuff, they just get all haywire. And then that causes a migraine, just in case you've been having those and been wondering what the hell is going on. And of course, because of the sun's transformations, which is doing, men have been feeling the sun's transformation, many women feel it also, but we've been feeling the sun's transformation every time early in the morning, to be honest. But and the women have been feeling the moon's transformation every time their cycles come around and during that time where they feel fertile, okay? So it's always been happening, but as things come more into balance, just like we're going into this eclipse on the 22nd where the earth will be in the middle, the sun will be on one side and the earth and the moon will be on the other side. So during those times, energetically, we're going to feel and receive certain things as long as we're tuned in and as long as we're on the path. But what I'm getting at here is that that's why I'm making this very important, is that when the hurricane does not get a chance to ground out, when it does not find a place to ground out, it tears shit up. It wreaks havoc. It goes on land, kills folks. It doesn't take its normal path of energy because, see, Earth has a normal path of energy just like we have power lines, just like your body has these normal paths of energy. And it doesn't harm anyone unless it gets off the path. And I'm bringing this all to your attention because there's many beings off the path right now. And many of them have this power, stole certain levels of power, activated certain planets within themselves, they accepted that instead of reaching the Sushumna, because it's so complicated for them, straight and narrow is the gate. On one, what they say, on one side, deep water. On the other side, flaming fire. Didn't I just tell you about these two poles? So this means even in the Bible is only a plagiary of these same texts explaining to you that straight and narrow is the path of where you want to be. And to achieve that, to see heaven truly, you must come into balance. This is more of the story that the Bible is omitting because it is deceptive. Anything that omits the natural truth, which could be told in a couple pages, is deception in itself. It is some other entity formed just like me and you, trying to manipulate, meaning it lives just like me and you. Even when we pass on from here, we will exist beyond this. There are other things that exist beyond this. But for them, they're like really scummy in the matter. You know how there's people right now that you won't be able to convince to come into balance? It's them. The energy is coalescing in them. And because it cannot be convinced to take the straight and narrow path and to come into balance, it's living off in one of these polarized worlds, and it's creating these polarized worlds, and it's trying to invite as many beings as it can into that world so that they can serve it inside that kingdom. You got people on YouTube doing that work for other beings. They don't even know the beings they're working for. They're always channeling something, always signing something, always giving themselves up, opening themselves up. And they know nothing about these ancient practices and principles, which we're going to be talking about here in a moment, that are so imperative that you know about before you just open yourself up. Folks opened themselves up, and then when they came back, they didn't notice there was something else sitting in the corner of their house. See, your body is a temple. They didn't notice that when they left and they opened themselves up for the channel and then they came back, they didn't even notice there was something else sitting in the temple with them. They just assumed it was themselves because they're halfway out of their mind. Okay? And you can tell that by the things that they suggest and what they say. And because humans are storytelling beings, you know, they just come up with all these stories and they have this essence of truth. But then they're just riddled with falsehood. That is the forked tongue of the snake. That's called the forked tongue. And it's symbolic for that there's a zigzag zig going up and down the tree of life. Okay? Remember, the tree of life is the balance. That's why it's a tree. And then twining up the tree, okay, that's why you got to, well, who are the roles here? There's 3 roles. There's the center column, totality, unity, the unity code, etc. And then there's the zigzaggers, the actual created and known worlds of division and all of the stuff they have, the computers, the cars, the flying, the games, the movies, and all of that stuff that goes on in those created or manifested worlds, which are built on pi and phi, the golden ratios, the golden numbers, etc. Because they are attempting to emulate as close as possible the kingdom. And someone asked about that little slightly being off on the ratios, but they're slightly off on the ratio. They don't exactly, it's not the harmonic tone. It's like the difference between 440 and 432. It's like you really have to be able to listen and say, something's off. It's also really easy because if it's just all about separating and there's no talk of unity, then it's clear. If there's still we should hate them, we should get away and destroy them, we should get them back for what they did. These folks are trying to get you to buy deeper into the illusion. They're working for beings that have a vested interest in staying in the illusion. That's why they talk about, these beings can't get back they can't get back to heaven. They don't want to go back to heaven. This is like talking to your homeboy and trying to explain to him about this great news. And he's like, let's just get this money, folk. He does not want to go the Sushumna path. And that is up to them. But is that what's going to happen to you? Are you not able to see very clearly how many of the teachers that are around now are actually working for the divisive forces? Okay, so let's break this down just a little bit and build it back up. I say, for instance, that, first of all, if we were building, which I'm always building something and creating something. I'm a creator. But then sometimes you look in the community, what do we need? A vote. We just need a voting system. If this is the conscious community, which is like a nation, then we need some organization in the nation. When are we going to actually put something together? And this is what I'm even working on now. I'm asking the question rhetorically. When I think of it, I immediately go into action and say, okay, we could take the directories, we could take all the specialist advisors, we could now add categories of them, and then we can actually start enlisting people we can reset all of the votes that are there now, reset it all back to 0, and then ask people to come in and start really rating the messages that they're receiving from these spiritual teachers. So that way we can find our pioneers and then put them together and actually create a space for them to be in so we can collaborate on this build of information that belongs to all of us. Because each person coming in saying, this is what I was told by Spirit, and this is what is the truth that I found out. Oh my goodness, you couldn't be so further from the truth. You didn't find anything. Your language doesn't even belong to you. The trees, the essence, the cells, the blood, none of this stuff belongs to you, so it's not yours. You cannot copyright it. You cannot trademark it, but yet they have, because all this goes on in the world of division and delusion, right? So then when you say something and you're supposed to be speaking truth, right? And they say, well, he copied off of what I said. Well, shit, if we all speak in truth, we should all basically be saying the same thing. If you have a different truth than my truth, one of us is a liar. And that means that we just need to keep refining ourselves because, hey, you're born in the lie. That's what they talk about, man. You're born into the lie. Do you know that when they birth you, the B-E-R-T-H, not the B-I-R-T-H, they birth you. So that is actually to put you onto the ship, to break the waters, okay? And then to manifest or to write on the ship's manifest. This is a Masonic or Freemasonic ship. And on the manifest, which is the birth certificate, then your parent is basically told to report the cargo, which is you. And then they weigh the cargo, 6 pounds, 5 ounces. And then they give it the value of its weight in gold. That is why they say the gold is the soul. So they give 7.5, 6 pounds, 5 ounces of gold as the value on the stock. And then they trade that, right? And then after 7 years, if it has not been claimed, then it is lost out to the sea, like a lost and found. Okay, they didn't claim this stock or bond certificate of this gold. So now we are going to claim it, which is a society and their fake false papers and contracts and talismans. We're going to claim it, and now it belongs to us. And that gives you your pedophilia rings, that gives you children missing, that gives you all of that as they keep claiming and staking claim over the ignorant. That's why I say, for lack of wisdom, my people will perish. It didn't say if they may perish. It say they will perish. People are perishing. They have no clue what's going on. They're still trying to figure out what Rick and Morty are going to be talking about. They're thinking about the past. They're thinking about the future. They're in all these different spaces, but not building. They're thinking. See, our manifestation is to build. When we build something, it is a confirmation of what we thought and what we said. Anybody can talk. Anybody can think. I don't even care if it's just grunts. I don't care if it's base measures inside the consciousness. Everybody can think, but only few people can really do. Why? Because shaitan regime, meaning inside of the brain, there are actually snakes that literally say, yo, I know you're almost done building that, but why don't we go do something else? You got somebody else over here. Hey, why don't I didn't like that. So what happens is that you never get anything built. There's never actually a foundation. That's why I say these vibrations and wavelengths, they don't like the motionless. They are anti the motionless. They are anti-foundational. They try to get you to think and all these different things, but when it's time to build, first, of course, build within. Build yourself on real knowledge, real wisdom. Okay, here's why. Notice how, and this again, it just flies over people's head. There's a natural inclination, and this is why they were talking about how, the human being, especially, they really have to really work to actually be on point. They have to make effort to be on point because their blood, as it talks about, Marduk took the blood of Kingu, which Kingu is called the great daemon, the biggest demon you can think of. Humans are made from that blood. So they have that natural inclination to go off the path. Solomon, okay, this is the same thing. Marduk in this case is now extrapolated with Solomon. Solomon built the temple. Look at what it's saying. It's saying here on the top, Temple de Solomon, okay? This is the temple of Solomon, and you see a body here. Remember, they say Solomon used demons to build the temple, okay? So this means that the body, because demons and daemons or diamonds are stars, okay? That's what we're talking about, the ones that shine outside. Remember we said before that there's these wandering stars, which are like the planets and the stars inside of us, okay? Those were used to build the temple or the world. And so there's an inclination here. There's things that need to be taught, as the Quran says, that you need to teach these demons. You need to show them by example what it is to be balanced, what it is to actually go into a higher level of self. And some of them will listen, just like some of your friends. They listen and say, yo, tell me more about that. Why others will not. They will reject you, and they will actually even make it tough on your path. If you have to keep traveling, and, hey, man, you can't stay at my house tonight. My mom's a Christian. She doesn't like to hear that. You know, they'll make it tough for you on your path. Okay, so I'm just rolling this all out for you in 2019 of how it looks. Okay, because sometimes with all these illusions, remember the serpent is in mist. Okay, it's mysticism. We talked about before, and this is all stuff we covered already. I got to give it to you again. This is a summary. Shed. Okay, shed is also known as the derma or the dream or the skin. Okay, in Latin, the word derma means skin, which is also our English word for dream. It's an anagram for dream. So it's because the skin, which is the shining one, okay, because the skin shines. It is the largest organ of the body. So while you're looking at all of these other planets, right, you're missing the shining one. Like, meaning while you're looking at all these other organs, actually you're not looking at them because one big organ is mastering over all of the other organs. As I say, Marduk whooped all the gods' ass. Read the text. It was a wrap. That's why you see all of that going on in Egypt in Kemet is gone. All that in the Indus Valley is gone. Marduk tore all that shit up and just said, look, I'm the head honcho. I'm the chief of all the gods now. If y'all want to war with me, let's get it. I'm the real gladiator. I'm the one going to do it all more extreme than anyone. I'm the shining one. Now, you see what I mean? So all the old shining ones and all the Vasuki and the beautiful chicks with the serpent legs and all that, it consumed all of their names all in one, and then became shed. Okay, and that just means the skin, because see the skin. Notice how you look in the mirror, you're more concerned about the external aspects of yourself. You look at other people and you see these external aspects of them. But what would happen if, meaning their beauty, as you would call it, and they also say, oh, those that are closest to pie and fire are the most beautiful, okay? This is why the serpent is pie and fire. You get it? And then so it goes on and it says, well, actually, this is not somebody saying it. This is the revelations that were brought to me by my ancestors. Notice how the skin, well, first of all, what it explained to me now, 7, think about this. What would happen if no humans had skin? Would there really be like, she's beautiful, he's fine, or whatever they say? Would it really be any of that? No, because you would see that, oh shit, that's just another muscle bag. You wouldn't actually see these shapes and forms and features, okay? And it begins there, right? So then we're concerned so much about this outer appearance, the skin. We neglect heart, spleen, liver. You got folks eating things, taking things, shooting themselves up, and doing all this stuff to change their external appearance, and they're damaging all of the other internal planets. Why? Because the internal planets are now the lesser gods, and the external planet, the skin, the shed, Shaddai, is the main god. Okay? And then everyone falls down and worships that, meaning that people judge you based on how you look. This is what all this means metaphorically. Yeah, there may be beings out there masquerading under these titles. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying at its core, if you really want to nip it in the bud, nip it in the Buddha, if you really want to do that, then you would look internally and see, yeah, my external is really what is fogging and clouding who I am. This is the shining one. Okay, so let's keep going on. So now occult, which is O meaning sun and C meaning moon, is the study of the practice of the sun and the moon, and actually just the practice, okay? It doesn't actually mean bringing them into balance. And this is another thing. Occultism is not just bringing the sun and moon into balance. It is the awareness of the power of the sun and the moon within our consciousness to either be able to heat up or cool down, and what these forces do in these planes of existence. Because this is very similar to what speeds you up, what slows you down, and what allows you to stay in the same place. That is the most important thing in a ship. And of course, the fuel. So we've been talking a lot about ships. We've been talking about a lot about fuel. But if your system is not functioning properly, you're broke. Literally, no money, no currency, in debt. Okay, that's why a lot of this stuff is connected to the debt-based system, because those who don't realize this zigzag nature that goes on inside of them, instead of trying to blame somebody else, it's your decisions that you're making. It's your choice. So those who don't realize this, they cannot activate Jed. Okay? Jed pillar is the center, or the Sushumna. Okay? Jed pillar is here in the center. I just want to make this very clear. It's like let's go to kindergarten for a second. I mean, why? Why not? We talk about everything else. Everybody's talking about every damn thing else. They're making stuff up now. It's like aliens across the whole fucking planet, all these different things happening, and in these councils that are forming, and aliens are saying no more for the human. Man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're making that up. This is how it works. This is how it always worked. And if we don't, again, start challenging our teachers and instructors and calling them on that and say, look, man, here's a video that explains a little bit more about what you clearly don't know. Because you're making up so much stuff to keep the views and the likes happening, it's throwing us all off, especially as a community. And in 2020, like, we're going to get that mouth. Like, the reality is you could do this. You could do this in 2019, all the way up to 2019. You could do it 2017. You could do it 10 more years in the past. You could do it 20. You could do it 1,000. But in 2020, you won't be able to do it. You ain't going to be around here doing it. I'm going to make sure you're not around here doing it. I'm going to make sure that we come into this wholeness so that way we can progress. I've been into 10 years, a decade. I've been studying spirituality all my life. But I've been here in a decade. Do you think I'm going to do anything for a decade and not see the total fruition of it? Or do you think I'm just going to walk away after spending this much time? Like, I'm not going to get that time back. The only way it's going for me is to go directly ahead and get ready to sift, what do they call it, pushing the wheat from the chaff. If you still want to stay in zigzag land indefinitely, because that's really what these worlds are about, here's what happens. There really is no past. There is only an illusion, okay? So if you're living into, let's say, for instance, you live your whole life as a lie. You never actually figure out that we're all connected. And you can actually go about in your disconnection, doing things that are disconnected. Disconnection doesn't exist. So every single thing that you're doing doesn't really exist. So there's nothing to actually come back to. That's why people say, I forgot my last life. No, you didn't even forget your last life. Your last life was an illusion. If you were here before, you lived in the illusion and you never reached the Sushumna, and all that was wiped out because it's not even real. And only pi, which is the ultimate level of, if you want to call it magic, that's why they always show the apple. Oh, the apple, and they bite the apple and all this kind of stuff, and the snake and all of this kind of stuff. They always bring this stuff around, and it's like, it's because our ancestors over in Kemet built an entire structure, which we call the pyramid, to house this knowledge and to keep. That's why I say, oh, the pyramids, they actually seem to make the land fertile when they're working. It's because, no, they do more than that. Any structure that is created like that projects the entire reality around it. So you think you're seeing a desert, but when you turn a third eye on, that's a whole different space, and you're just in another space and time. These structures project fields across the entire expanse of the consciousness through vibration. And those spells, because this is spell work. These are tones and vibration. This spell or geometric work is what the masters do and have done. You see what I mean? And then these separatists, which are the ones who don't teach anybody the knowledge, that have been keeping this all in secret, and they make up some of the most illustrious secret societies of today, including the monks, the Buddhists, all of these people who just need to turn on their damn YouTube video, stop playing around, and tell these folks, just like on the OA. Anybody who has watched the series The OA, okay, it's called The OA. It's on Netflix, okay? You'll see that this lady, who when you Google, she's actually really fitting the role of what she's playing in the movie. Her parents and family are super wealthy. She wrote the entire series herself. Maybe somebody will source the name of the lady, and she plays the main actor, and she wrote the OA, the first season. Okay, she's doing these moves, okay? And these moves are what they learn, according to the series. They learn these moves because this guy kept taking all these people who were experiencing near-death experiences, or when you would go into a near-death experience, that he had started collecting all of these people, and he trapped them all together to figure out how they were able to cross over and then come back. And what was translated from that was a series of moves that you perform that actually bring you into a death state and allow you to cross through what others are calling time. The way this all works is very, very, very precise. This is master knowledge. It's because the yantra, which you see it over here, the Sri yantra, that is known as the machine, also known as the temple, okay? Now, the temple or the machine does not operate by itself unless you put in certain codes. Those codes are called yoga, okay? Or Yoda, okay? So these codes, what they do is they allow you to bend and contort and you position your body in a certain way that lets you release your spirit, okay? Also, like I talked about years ago, you can't just release your spirit. Here's the other thing. This is why there was some training that had to go on, because if you had already entered the illusion, you needed to kind of understand how to exit the illusion rather than getting deeper into the illusion, which some actually call bliss. Bliss is actually the sun's daughter. She uses seduction. Now, at first, it's all pleasant. It helps with the field. It allows you to get an idea of how much power you have. But if you get lost in bliss, any Dogen or Tibetan master will smack the shit out of you with a stick. Wow! When they see it happening. Because what it is that you're falling asleep inside of the illusion, which is dangerous. That's why they call it Tantra. If you see the movie Tantra from India, the lady's on top of the man, because this is now an external version of the sun and the moon together, okay? So she's on top of the man, and she starts actually getting into the pleasure too much, and he pushes her off, and she's like, turned out. Why'd you do that? He said, listen, if you get lost, I get lost, and we will never be found out there. What it's referring to, this is real stuff. That's why we have people in the community now, they've gotten little parts of it. Now they actually think they're masters in it, but they didn't read any books. They didn't really study under any real masters to show, don't come out of your body really until you actually are firmly rooted in who self truly is, or you're going to be misguided and misled by so many things that are out there. It's virtually infinite. It's as many things as your mind could really cook up. It's as many peripherals as you have to really plug into with all your orifices. That's what would really happen if you didn't keep realizing straight and narrow is the way. Okay? You got to go through these gates. And when you go through these gates, you can't be like Lot's wife looking back, looking all to the side and where you look even in the meditation. That's what they say. You straighten your back. You look directly. It triangulates to the front. You don't look up, which is conceit. You don't look down, which is being tired and debased. You look straight. You keep your back straight, not bent. And then you travel with the eyes slightly open, not too wide, which is distracting, and not closed, which is sleep. So you put your body into this state, and then you begin the process of learning how to operate the machine. Because meditation is really just looking into the inner reflections of self. And in order to achieve this, you cannot say anything. You cannot You cannot say anything. You cannot speak. That's the thing. You can't say anything. You cannot move your body. Right? Like thinking about, oh, let me move my arm and what mudra should I hold and what. All of that is just accoutrements. You can travel through the other spaces, but to get to the Sushumna, you must become unmovable. The immovable is the supreme of all of this, right? And to achieve that state, it takes practice, of course. It takes discipline. It takes efforts. Most people don't want to practice. They don't want to be disciplined, and they don't want to put in any efforts. Versus in the ancient times, that's all everybody wanted to do. That's why you have fat great-great-granddad working hard, great-great-great-grandmother. They were taught, work hard, because that is what your soul is going to be doing. And even if you're working for somebody else or any of that, that's not even really what's happening. You're refining your own consciousness and getting to the stage where you're balancing out, because we talked about before, if you have a past of running up the bill, zigzagging and working with Eve angels, spinning up all your current, depending on only motives or motivation, not realizing how to get to the cosmic wind of the Sushumna. If you're doing all of that, then you're going to accrue debt. And then daemons, which are basically larger forms, planetary systems, it's like a hotel. Oh, you're going to go and live in this chakra? Oh, well, here's the charge. If you want to stay charged and motivated, here's what you're going to need to pay. And then the person ends up in debt. Just like the stupid Rothschilds didn't understand that when they set up all of this system with the Knights Templar, who had already sold themselves out, had built an inverted version of the Temple of Solomon at Chateau Reims, when they decided to actually make the first IO notes and to plunge the rest of the reality in debt over some gold and some jewels, that really for the beings that was dealing with all that back there, gold meant souls to them. The two words have always been interchangeable. And while they would love to tell you that the same amount of gold has been here on earth since it has always been, that's not what actually the case is. It's just gold or souls are always coming here, and gold and souls are leaving. Some gold or souls stay trapped. Some gold and souls are even taken off world. This was another thing, off planet, meaning that the resources of the planet have been moved off planet. What that just means is, because somebody's like, okay, I guess they took a lot of the gold and the iridium and the diamonds because they're finding this information, but they're still interpreting it with the same base consciousness. It means that it's not gold, diamonds, and silver that are being taken off planet and stored somewhere. It's souls that are taken off planet and stored and housed and netted and contained somewhere. Like I said with Marduk, through a net over Tiamat. Tiamat then is symbolic to the human being or the soul, through a net over it and then cut it into pieces. It's just saying division. Okay? And then once it cuts it into these pieces, puts the net over it and cuts it into these pieces, and then stores it off world like a stock. Now, this person's still running around the physical plane, still tethered, right? Everybody's tethered. Like we talked about, everybody's linked through the center of themselves. But they gone. Gone. No more concern about self. No more moralistic bearing. Always looking external, trying to find another charge. They're running around like vampires or zombies. That's what this is really about going on right now. Vampire. I need to take somebody else's energy. I need somebody else to fuel me. Am I beautiful? Am I pretty? That's a vampire. Okay? Zombie. Zombie is, hey, that's it. There's a lot of zombies from seduction. That's what voodoo has a whole part of just zombie, because one of the beings in there, which is synonymous to the sun's daughter, has so much seduction, she can throw her followers into zombie states. And this is like average guy bumping in a shorty from Victoria's Secret. Hey, can you tell me where I'm going? Zombie seduction, okay? And so that's what I'm saying. This thing is like, it's real in the field, and it's because you can stay here forever. Like, these worlds will just continuously populate themselves, or you can rise on beyond this. You can actually take the lesson. Thanks for the fish. That's what that means. So long and thanks for the fish. Thanks for the lesson of this whole fishers of men and souls and serpents and snakes and division. And okay, I get it. Unlock your power because you start realizing, yo, they ain't playing games. It's like the chief of demons is running around here and he even got his ass whooped. I better boss up. I better activate my power with my ancestors and stop playing around every single day, acting like the next day gonna come. Oh, it's gonna come. And the next one's gonna come, and the next one's gonna come. And while you keep giving yourself time, you're gonna be stuck in time. And things are gonna keep changing. That's the other thing, entropy. Okay, this is another thing, because somebody's like, well, shit, I kind of like the spot. I just want to stay. Well, they kind of wired in, the ancestors wired in that you wouldn't even be able to make that decision like that. You're not gonna trick the game masters. You're not gonna put the power glove on here. You're gonna reap what you sow. So there's entropy, meaning that the longer that you're in this, it wears you down. Did you not notice? Unless you're just a super motivated, super charged up, cosmically on the cosmic wind, you're going to get wore down over time. You're going to start feeling like, especially when you get older, you're 67 years old, it's like, it's all a lost. I lost everything. How the hell you lose anything? You didn't come in here with anything. Neva Shah. How are you going to lose anything and you didn't come in here with anything? That is an illusion right there. You can't lose something you didn't have in the first place. And as a being that has everything, as I always say, you cannot give me nothing because where would you get it? I cannot take anything away from me. Where would I put it? I am the all. And it's high time for us to start living this way, being this way, letting that course through every fiber of who we represent, not shifting. It's like when I see shifty folks, it's like I see, first of all, their eyes shift. Oh, man, this is a shifty. Here we go, shifty. And it gets crazy because if you're in a realm and you figure out that few people actually realize how to even stay balanced long enough to realize the power of it, that's why a lot of people haven't seen the reward of it yet, because they can't stay there long enough. This is like somebody who they in the meditation for 3 minutes and now they're already looking around. Are they looking at me? You even see them with the eyes slightly, the eyes moving around and stuff. It's like, oh, yo, man, we're meditating. Still yourself, literally take yourself back. Something already has you. And look, I'm going to tell you the truth, as I always do. Some people need to admit that they're alcoholics. Like I said, AA, first step, admit you have this problem. If you're always sitting up there bossed up and elated, they're going to get that mouth. Meaning that you're going to actually see why playing around has now cost you. There have been times that I walked into something so serious, like my first transformation. I didn't know it was going to do what it did. I'm so elated, proud, and glad that my mother was sending honorings, which some call prayers, sending honorings for hours and hours and hours, day after day after day after day. Not thinking about herself, but just saying, Most High, take care of my children. Take care of my children. I used to hear 3 o'clock in the morning, take care of my children. So that way, when I went out of the body, instead of me getting hijacked like so many else have, I got a real lesson. For 2 weeks, I'm riding along with the chief head honcho Kundalini's Kundalini all the way risen for sure. Everything doesn't appear as it seems, and you're still here. Like I'm wearing a hood, looking into a stone to see the rest of the reality rather than visualizing it directly because of the dangers of even looking into another soul's eyes. Looking into people's eyes and just going all the way into where they are and just ended up in their living room, seeing all the things that they cherish. Like I said, that people hold what they cherish the most right at the front of their consciousness. So all of these beings that know how to work these kind of energies, they can look right in a person's eyes and they start telling you stuff. I had some of my friends, I'm not going to name any names. One of them is a superstar. And so that one of the leeches, one of the illuminated leeches had tacked onto them because they just told them something that no one would know. Like, hey, at 7 years old, you fell off the slide with the red dress on and busted your chin. Huh? How did you know that? And it was at that point, or this happened to you at this point. Huh? How did you know that? Then they start trusting that person. Why? Because the person telling them something somebody else wouldn't even know, except for these adepts. These adepts can scan your entire frontal lobe and see every single thing that you cherish, especially those that are misusing their power. Versus when I was going through, it was like, don't look at her eyes. Don't look at your eyes. Just cast your gaze down until you learn how to use this power. And let's keep going on this ride. And I was asking all the questions like, so you telling me this Georgia is somehow on the opposite pole of the other Georgia? Yes. You're saying that this Atlanta is the Atlantis? Yes. You're saying that this is the where all the points connect, like later on, years later, they built the biggest airport there. Yes, you tell me all these Masonic lodges are actually portals. Yes, you telling me down here inside of the sewers that this is going on. Yes, you telling me I should at least right now while the Kundalini's so high tap my shoes with metal so I ground out properly. Yes, you telling me I should switch over to some cork stuff. Yes, so I was in there just asking questions, and then I would go look it up. Let me see if this is, oh shit, this is right. I guess I'm getting the truth. And I kept rolling with it. And this is what I've been doing for 10 years. Now it's just natural for me to continuously connect with higher self and ancestors, but also remain here. Some people, I thought I was going to get caught up in the whirlwind like Enoch too. Like, yo, I'm going to be gone soon. Let me write this last will and testament, the code to the matrix. This is what you'll see and what you leave, the dimension and everything. I'm packing my stuff up. I didn't have nothing to pack. I sold it all. I was like, shoot, anything that's not in service to self got to go. And if it's actually hurting somebody, it's going in the trash. I went to burning stuff. I burned my Gucci shoes. I burned all this stuff. I was like, shit, I ain't even going to sell this stuff to nobody. It's going to produce more problems with them. Packed all my stuff up, got light, then got out of that vortex. I was staying downtown in the high rise, which is like the low rise. You're like inverted now with all these bills and all these leases and all this kind of stuff and all these people around you. Seven, can you do this? Seven, can you do that? You got like 3 phones and shit, and one of them's already bugged, and you're like, man, you're thinking you're the man, ain't you? And you're stuck. So now, like I said, you got too much weight, which is the other name for Sirius. The planet Sirius to our ancestors was known as weight. It is the counterbalance. It is the dog star, Hermanubis. Okay? So you got too much weight and you're trying to get light. Shit, I'm trying to just live, be free. But you need to get light though. Frequencies. And that's what happened. And that was the path that I followed. And that's what puts me in front of you here today. Not as a guru telling you that, oh, I've achieved this, and this is the. No, I'm giving you a live view into my diary saying, yo, it's 2020 now. I'm going to be gone too in a minute like everybody else. You get where I'm coming from? People act like they're never going to leave. Look at. Come on. You can't even see that play. It's because people are clinging so much to the illusion. They are afraid of death. They think they're never going to leave. Yet I saw my cat leave. If we were never going to leave, he wouldn't have left. I saw my grandma. I saw my grandfather. If we were never going to leave, they would have never left. But I'm saying to you, if you do this properly and tap into self, you won't be waking up to misery. Another distorted life where actually you lose a bit more soul force and only the vessel that can hold you, which may be another animal body with a bent back, that may be the only thing that you're able to inhabit next in the illusion. Because you've debased yourself. This entire reality is debasing, demoralizing. It always wants to tell you what you can't and what you're not. It lies a lot. They told me if you have a great idea, people will fund that idea. Throw it on Kickstarter. If you get with a group of people and you guys are all thinking together, none of that ever worked. How is a group of people going to get together and we don't even have a communicative component and an arbitrative component? That's what etiology is. If I can't figure out a way, we're going to have a disagreement. My uniqueness is the disagreement. My rareness is the disagreement. That's why it's not welcome at the job. They do not want you to bring in your rareness. Look, Judy, here's your manual. You do this. Okay? That's how it works. It's because the uniqueness is what people come to qualms with. Every time you come out expressing yourself in a way that others are not, now they're jealous of you. That is the hook. So that's why rap turned into what it is right now. That's the hook. Everybody, oh, I killed this cat. And he shoot him in the face. And it's like, who are you singing to? And people are listening to this stuff. I like what Shorty said. I would think, when they were saying bitch and all this on the line, that I'm not a bitch, so they're not talking about me. I'm not a hater, so he's not talking about me. But you're putting all that inside of your head, and then you're liking it. So they're talking about you. And then we're liking this? Okay, so again, like I said, because I'm preaching to the choir in this case, I would trust that everybody here on this line is actually just getting this message to go and do their emissary work if you may to others that also need to receive it. So I digress from that. So this is what it is. How do you know where you're at? Like right now. Right now, this nostril is a bit clogged. This one is open. You know what that means? That means that I'm predominantly using this snake, if you may, right now. And when I'm breathing in through both of my nostrils and they're both clear, I'm in the sushumna. It was that simple. It was literally always to take a moment, because you can actually balance your nostrils. And to actually, when you felt it's like a self-check. You know what I mean? This is a yantra. This is a machine. So you check it. All right, this one's opened up. This is opening up more. It's going to keep opening, and eventually it's going to be all the way open, and they're going to be at equal measure. Like, okay, I done balance. I'm calibrated. Okay, now obviously you got to get that going on in your consciousness first, but a simple check to understand if you were actually using one serpent or the other was if your nostrils, that's why, look here. You see this terminating up in the head? This actually, there's another diagram that I have. It's not up today, but it terminates into the nostrils. And when one of the nostrils is clogged, does you know everybody has a clogged nostril, right? Check it out right now. I know somebody gonna type in both my out, and my shit is clear. Somebody's gonna type, both of my shits are clear. And it's just because it's like we're wrestling and we're struggling against ourselves. And it's funny, but it's sad. Because it's like we're still trying to prove to everybody else that we made it. To make it is to really make it. It's not an idea or a thought. It's an action. I really made it. I really did it. Here we are. I'm really talking about it, but I also do it. It's happening, and it's a daily thing. Remember, it's daily. Like they say, oh, the flesh dies daily. And also here it is, another thing to judging folks, judging nations, judging other beings. Look, every 7 years, if the body replaces most of it, if not all of its organs, how the hell do you not believe that someone in a certain period of time can completely change into something new? So stop looking back on the past and all the old things and trying to find someone to blame or something that's going wrong, and if they're still wrong, so you can, like I said, balance out. We talked about that. We feel like people owe us. Well, this happened to me because, and then we go into blaming somebody, and now we want that person to pay. White man needs to pay me. Man, you don't got to pay me nothing. With what? Fiat? You want reparations? That's fiat. You're going to pay me something that has no value? Give me my knowledge back. That's what you do. Give my mothers, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles of all colors of the spectrum their knowledge back so that they would stop thinking in their whole illusionary way that these color games that they keep playing have anything to do with what truth is about. The Sushumna is not a color. It is not a gender. It is not a word. It is not a name. It is none of those things of foolishness that you created in Phi. And if you want to hang out in Phi for the rest of infinity, then you go ahead and do it. But if you're encouraging others, I'm coming at you. I'm coming at you. And there's many of us. We're coming at you to actually bring you into balance because we love you and we have compassion for you. How do we know we're receiving compassion? If you're even getting this knowledge, you need to ask nothing more. This knowledge is high, holy, hidden, sacred. You will defeat anything that comes against you by realizing that they're all you. And also, if you feel a fear, like we're going to approach something like some robot or some machine that's going to torture everybody, just take me fast then. I don't care about anything that you've concocted in your illusion, because I know that all of us together can defeat anything. Not to mention, shoot, even just tribe. Just a few folks with their consciousness in the proper position, which is in the center, can do major things. But if we keep perpetuating the lie, if we keep allowing the lie to be caught up, you see what I mean? Like just letting this lie continuously go on and on and on. You're not checking base. These are molesters. Only molesters do that. Molesters do shit to people and they don't want it done to them. And they know that they actually don't have the courage to say anything about it because they've been debased. That's what most of these spiritual outlets consist of, is spiritual molesters. So what they do is they bring around their funky, filthy gods that they've uploaded and channeled into themselves. They're careless and reckless. They generally haven't come from any real struggles or seen anything that has taken them into a consciousness that will realize, well, you can't do it to your own kind. And all of this belongs to us. And then who's going to stand up and challenge them? That's what I'm saying. Like, now they've gotten so haughty. Nobody even has enough subscribers to reach them. Nobody has enough votes. Nobody has enough likes. Nobody has enough crypto. Nobody has enough money to reach them. Except for when they go into that balance. They cram onto that sumshumna. You see where those snakes terminate? Where they end is where you begin. So this is their awareness. This is the reality of what's happening. So let me look over my notes here. We're pretty much at the conclusion. So do you understand now? When you zigzag, that creates what you're calling the world. Okay, this is where we are. We're on one leg of the zigzag. These are the division worlds that are made of pi and phi. This is why they always talk about them and they become so spooky and all that. They're pleasing, right? There's pleasures here, but then there's perils. And they always talk about that because there's always yin and yang in these two worlds. These are like those two fish, those two koi fish. That's the same symbol of the two snakes. Everybody keeps showing these same symbols. Look, here's another one. There's an older one. Okay, do you get what they're talking about here? This will tie you in knots. You'll be confused. If you don't get where you are and where you came from and who you are and what you always will be and how you are everything, you'll be confused. And both of these snakes, they have equal power. So while you're trying to figure out which one you're going to serve, which one's going to save, i.e. slave you, the truth is neither one of them can win the battle. So they sought themselves personally to just wage war on you in your own mind. That's why the ancient scripture says, hey, we can't help humans anymore because the enemy is going to be in their minds. And it's going to be up to them. No messiahs and no saviors can save you at this stage. It's going to be up to you to make the decision to go into that center column and stop. Because it's always like, here comes somebody else with it. Have you ever noticed the moment you get off the phone today, watch it. I used to call it laying traps for the devil. I used to lay traps for the devil. Just wait on him so I can attack him. like I told you, you people think that the evil beings are the ones that you should be afraid of. I'm a full spectrum being invading Earth, which is a distorted place at this stage, ready to bring full spectrum light here. So you lay traps for the devil in order to trap him up and kill him and rejuvenate him and use his blood and sprinkle it upon the earth. That's how the ancestors used to talk. We're going to destroy him and then destroy him completely and utterly. Give him gas to drink. Give him lava. And then we're going to build stuff with him. We're recyclers. Okay? This is about recycling. Everything has a use. And that's also why I don't want you to go from this call today looking at nature like nature is your deceiver. And then the family around you, and then you've utterly lost then. You totally didn't get what I was saying. You leaned on your own understanding. What I was saying is if something put all of this together just so that you will learn who you are. Wow. That's love right there. That's love. In every truest extent. That's compassion. In order for you to learn who you are, all these theatrics. Y'all think Hollywood be going in with the CGI? Man, look at this. This is a full-on imbued GUI from your third eye, piercing off your piercing off the black dot on your pineal gland, and then spraying out into the concave field on the back of your eye lens. That's how much compassion is here for you to learn. They kept reinventing ways to get us to realize who we are. That's all. But again, as we go on these journeys, I notice like Willy Wonka's boat. You know, when Willy Wonka go on the boat, and then the shit starts getting crazy. Like I said, that's how it was going to start. But then when we pull off on the side and eat one of those Scrunches Dilliunches bars, you're going to realize, okay, we yin, we yang, we sun, we moon, But then we come into the center, especially when we're being called to the center. You're being called to the center. That's what 2020 is. It's like an alarm clock. Yo, everybody get back to the center now. We know y'all was out on recess. Literally, look at the name, recess. You've been out there playing around. All right, kids. All right, children. I can use the word kids because some of these folks are actually made from goats. And I ain't going to get in that today. Some are made from lambs and some are made from goats' DNA. Like, it's a real thing. They ain't not even playing. So it's like, okay, kids. Okay, children. Let's come out of recess. It's time. You're regressing too far. It's time to come into your space and your consciousness and stand in infinity now. Time to get mature. You need to know the birds and the bees now, or the bards and the bees, the sedge and the bee. You need to learn this knowledge now. Now it's time to talk about the cooties. It's time to talk about how things get really created, not divided, but creation, how life really exists truly. That's because of taking two opposite poles and putting them together. I know this is an uncomfortable conversation for you. It's kind of difficult being adept and adult, talking to children, having that uncomfortable conversation about the pole and the hole. So the tin man can actually gain a heart and start realizing that while you're bashing and beating up on things, what it truly requires is that you actually build something as a solution. So I'm telling also all y'all spiritual teachers out there, while you keep bashing even humanity, you need to wake up. You need to wake up and build something, not just another station. Anybody can do a station. I can get you a microphone right now. You can get a Rodecaster. What is it? PodMac Rodecaster. Now they down, instead of the SM7B, which is $500, the PodMic Rodecaster is now $149. The best mic out here. You can grab you a Rode Class Series Affix, which is basically the Rodecaster Pro, under $800. And now you can broadcast on the go. Anybody can do that. But when it comes time to toil, when it comes time to get your hands dirty, to actually get in there with humanity, get folks cussing you out, bad messages, backbiting, stinginess. When it's time to experience all that, where you at? Because that's what I went through. I still go through that, and it's not as at the same magnitude as it was before because I won't allow it. But when you come in, just because you're bringing in a holistic message doesn't mean everybody wants to be woken up out of their sleep. You see, so at the end of the day, let us look into this. Effort is the developer. Put the efforts in. Move beyond the bliss. You may be comfortable. You may love it. You may be having a great time. But what is the condition of your father, your mother, your sisters, your brothers? Have you built a solution for them? Now, also, I will tell you that when we are working together, you don't have to take all the burden on your own. The reason why we built the ecosystem is for everyone to work together to continuously strengthen each other. And that's what we're doing. We're still building this. There's a lot that you have there now, but that's why that's there. Everything that I'm telling you today, this is the solutions that I built for it, because I had to think about everything. I was like, damn, the moment you start thinking about a solution, like, well, that ain't going to work. They're going to think that means that. Back to the drawing board. And then finally, after 10 years of synthesis, it's like, okay, this is it. This is going to fix as much as possible. This is with all things considered. All right? And so we have, I think we actually went through everything. Yeah, I'm looking over my notes now really briefly, taking a breath. Landing the ship. All right, I guess we could start doing the giveaways now. I trust this makes perfect sense. Just recapping very briefly, you have these 3 channels. All of us have them. If you're here breathing and living today, you have this. So you don't got to go try to find it anywhere, is what I'm saying. It's inside. But you need to get it in balance. You need to walk through the front door of your own kingdom. Snap yourself out of the seductions, all the vapors. Rid yourself of the vampires and the zombies on the zigzagging paths, and start realizing that you need to come to the center, because that's what 2020 means. That's why they're giving you this alert. If you don't do this, I can't say what's going to happen to you. I can just tell you it's not going to be pleasant. I can tell you if you do this, you'll experience beyond infinity. You'll actually be able to really see, okay, I just really want to, real briefly, some people say, well, what should I expect? What am I going to get? Because, some people are like reward based. Imagine everything that you think you lost, everything that you think is gone is actually really somewhere. And when you bring yourself into the center, it's there. So if you've ever experienced the pain of loss of something, it's actually there in the center. And man, when I was going through turbulent times like 6 or 7 years ago, before I really started coming out heavy with the message, I was in this meditation because I was so worried about my family. I was worried about my mom. I was worried about everybody because all the knowledge that I was receiving, I just was getting bogged down and trying to figure out how I'm going to get it to them, especially with some of them still being on the Jesus program. And then the same voice, which I call the higher self, that has always told me all the knowledge and all the wisdom, has never lied, said, 7, if they're the truth, if they're real, or anything that's the truth, or anything that's truly real, it's going to be where you're going. And if it's not, you should rejoice that it's not there. And it's just a simple statement of realizing that if something is here that you're cherishing so much, like that Lamborghini or something, it's probably not going to be over there. But if it was your dog, your cat, your mom, your uncle, a life form of any kind, all life exists in one space and never perishes. That's the reward. Okay, so I just want to make that very clear. That's why many people gravitate towards higher levels of consciousness when they lose something that is close to them, because they want to know how to join that again. And unfortunately, there's so many religions, which is basically riggings on their fake Freemasonic ship. Religion means riggings on the ship. It's basically things that they use in order to get everybody on the slave ship. That's what religion is. So people get caught up in that, trying to figure out where their lost loved ones are, and they get lost in there. But truly, that being, who that being really is at their greatest essence, it's in that sushumna. It's through that gate. And that's how you reach it. That's the reward. Also remember that these organs are vital. That's why they have a statement. It's an esoteric code. It says, I'm wandering through the desert and I'm just trying to tie my camel down. This is an esoteric code of entry. I'm wandering through the desert and I'm trying to tie my camel down. What that means is that if your camel runs off and you're in the desert, you're screwed. So some ask for help into internal self. I'm in the desert and I need to tie my camel down. This means that I've lost control of my body and I need some assistance in getting this thing back under control. So you see all of these glands here. When you eat the wrong stuff, all the intakes, this is what we're talking about: sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch. You reap what you sow. You're feeding these beasts, if you may. So either that you flip them over and ride them, or they ride you. Either you tell them what to do, or they tell you what to do. You are the Lord and the master of your own consciousness. You take the chief position. Okay? And what that means is that also with that responsibility, because so many people want to be the Lord and the master. They can't even take care of kids. It's like to be the Lord and the master of self means you actually look at every single one of your organs and are like, how you doing today? Oh man, I guess that cheesecake didn't do you too well last night, did it? All right, let me get you some enzymes. We're going to stop this. We're going to work on this together. And you start calling your kingdom. Hey, is there any complaints? Little Toa's like, yeah, when you hit me against the door, I never healed. Okay, for that, I need some magnesium cream. All right, we'll get you some magnesium cream down there. And then that's why they show that image of Moses having to actually solve all the little petty situations that was going on inside the tribe. What that means is that all these little situations that are going on that you let get off balance inside of yourself, you're still going to have to be the Moses, the MSS, the Messiah, if you may, over yourself, the Lord and the master of your own creation, to go back in as the king, a good kahin, a good queen, and actually take care of your citizens. That's what this is about. It has nothing to do with anything going on external. It's about, did you let bacteria and pathogens overrun your entire temple? Did you leave out of the body because you didn't want to be here anymore, thinking you were going to go somewhere imbalanced beside where you already were, which was imbalanced? And then came back, and now a damn golem is sitting over there in the corner, and now you're encouraging everybody else to follow this fool somewhere, and he's lost himself. You're blind, shed, sackless. That's not going to work out. So you got to go back in yourself because you have that power. Take a technique and just touch every single part of your body and see how impatient you start getting and what you forget. From head to toe, just take time today to touch every single part of your body. Every single part, all the way from the bottom, all the way to the top, to the crown, and see how the mind starts saying, come on, man, we got to go somewhere. Come on, man, that's stupid. Come on, man. And then you just even forget about a whole part. I forgot my knee and my, all your joints. Like what I do is I take the magnesium cream and I put a little bit on all of the joints. Because the joints need all of that. Because there's this myth when you're younger. Oh, I don't need any of that. I'm strong. Well, stay strong then. Why break it? If you're actually maintaining, do you run the car with no oil? Don't worry, it's a new car. Come on, man. Where's the logic in that? That's why I say we're being instructed by fools. Fools have said, oh, you're young. You don't need any of that. You're producing on your own. No, you maintain the machine. It's a yantra. It's a machine. And when it runs on autopilot, it makes it really easy for you to leave out of it. That's what many of those higher level of techniques are about, is how to put the body on autopilot. Like I was saying, you found that out in the book, Bishop Kanko and the Devil, or whatever the book is called, but it explains very directly that many of the entities that are a bit more nefarious live in the ocean. And when you're going to visit them, they part the water for you. And one of their beings, which is predominantly ethereal, goes into your body, and you're snatched out of your body and taken down into the ocean in order to commune and talk and get the orders of what they want you and need you to do. Okay? Bishop Kanko and the witch doctor. Okay? And now instead of harping on all of that, the details. That's what I'm here for. The details. Oh, okay. So the body can't really live without the spirit. No, it cannot. It goes cold. It is like the moon. It'll be cold. It cannot heat itself. Okay? So when this happens, the yantra, which is what meditation and what yoga is really about, when you perform the proper rites, it goes on autopilot. You may see this thing in there doing Surya Namaskar. For those who know the sun salutation, this thing is just doing Surya Namaskar, and I'm out of the body. But it's keeping itself warm with the sun salutation, right? And it'll stay there on autopilot while I'm off somewhere else with my other body doing other things. And what could seem like 5 minutes over here is like 5 parsecs over there. Just like the dream world. The dream world is when both of those parts of your consciousness are actually trying to come into balance the most. The sun and the moon is trying to come into balance the most, but you see how chaotic it is. That power of you being able to see the dream is because the body is no longer functioning. You've put it to sleep, okay? And it's still on autopilot, and now you're traveling. But that's what I was saying about the training. If the mind is still chaotic, the mind is still imbalanced, then the dreams are demonic or over pleasure, too much pleasure or too much pain. But the body is still on autopilot, so you're able to travel. So what this is really talking about, what these arts and teachings are really about, this sun and moon occultism, if you may, is it's about learning how to balance out the consciousness like you're lucid. Right now, the front door is what we call it. Then when you balance it out, you leave. And then the body sits there doing some rock hots or sun salutations or full lotus or whatever it wants to do. And then when you come back, you just right into it, and then you keep moving, and you can actually get back in it. Also, there is station around it because we have these different aspects of our organs. One of them is a cherub. I call it the brass ring. This is a field that circumambulates around the body when you are gone to make sure if any other decrepit creature that wants to utilize the vessel learns Don't touch the Ferrari, my guy. I will lop your head off, meaning that this is like alarm on this thing, protected by Viper. Stand back. That's seriously how that works with the machine and being able to go into advanced state of consciousness while still remaining grounded and protected here in this plane. So let us keep going. As we finish here, this is the perfection of realizing why these planets, you need them. These are not the demons. Stop trying to demonize, or as we say, distort everything in the existence. Just bring it into balance. That's why you don't have to go to war with anything. Bring it into balance. And as we said, some of these things, like when you're cleansing your house, some of these things run down the smaller channels. When I clean my house with the sage and the Palo Santo, I hit it corner to corner because darkness tries to escape in the corners. When you turn lights on, darkness goes into the corner. So you go corner to corner. So just like what you're seeing on this diagram here, all of those little spaces, that's being able to be in tune with yourself. This is real Ayurveda. You're in tune with yourself, pinching on and touching all these different points. Spend some time with yourself. That's why I put that meme up. If you can't spend time with yourself, you definitely don't need to be around others. You're just going to keep spreading your virus. What happens here is that touch all the points of yourself and get familiar with yourself and spend the time so you can learn how to use this powerful weapon. And I say weapon in this case because it actually comes into assailing many things. That's why the human being was lost. The power of the human being here was signed off almost in a treaty. People cannot know about their power. This is what we just went over for the last how many thousands of years. That's why you have secret societies. And this is because it was deemed by even you think is the nefarious forces keeping you from your power. No. It is your parents. Because when you have power and you don't know how to use it and you want everybody to worship you and all this kind of stuff, well, we got enough of that now, don't we? We see that every single day on TV and in Hollywood. Where has that gotten us? We're all entertained, but we don't know anything. We didn't get a chance to try it out for ourselves and do it, practice it, all those different things that you need to be doing yourself. So that's why it was restricted. But now, hey, it's opening back up again. Here we go. Another opportunity to learn how to use that great caduceus, that Ankh. I see folks, they talk about how they wear it. Oh, we all about this black. And then we got my Ankh. You don't know anything about the balance. You don't even know anything about it, being able to cycle the Kundalini back to the back over the crown. Look, they're sitting there telling you, you got to be able to cycle the energy up and then back around. Back around means the back. That means everything that you can't see, things you don't like, things that all of that has to come into balance before you can turn a complete circuit. Just like what I was saying about the parents. They're trying to hold that last, hey, you know the pole goes into the hole, right? They're trying to hold that last little secret. You know how it's creation, how things get created, and then how that manifests in the reality is you don't like this other pole. And you will just have this conflicts and confusions going on with this other pole. And then you never learn how to really create. And anything you make is lopsided and distorted and imbalanced, like the rest of the things on the zigzag tree. So to truly have the balance of the power of creation to make something infinite, you must know the knowledge within yourself. Know the seat. Know yourself. On the front door of the temple. What is the temple? Not an external place. It is this body we're living in, built on diamonds, planets, stars. Okay? The greatest forces right here. Okay? And then as we conclude, we know all of these terms are synonymous. So each person that keeps trying to push it off as something different. Oh no, the Taurus is not. It's not the Merkaba, the Merkaba. And none of the aura and the aura. And whatever I can make up. Like, subscribe, Patreon. It's all the same thing, but it still requires also the same command. Come into balance, or you cannot even use any of this. And unfortunately, there are other beings that will just use yours. So if you don't use it, somebody else will. That's why I say, if you don't love, honor, and respect yourself, Someone else will use you. Usury. Money is called usury. Okay. So check it out. Also, you get it in the balance. There's another reward. You're not broke. You go into real sovereignty. It happens first on the spiritual level. We went into spiritual sovereignty first. 2020 for us is the physical sovereignty. We're actually going to address the money monster. But first, before we can do that, it's not just about another course, another affiliate link, or any of that kind of stuff. It's about getting yourself into balance and learning how to communicate. Learning how to communicate also with yourself. Stop fighting yourself and letting these forces, these powerful forces inside of you fight each other. One better than the other. Man, if y'all don't, man, get me on the back. Where's the saddle to you? That's how I treat dragons. It's like, yo, where's your saddle at? Because I know you ain't acting like I'm going to fall down and worship. You couldn't have knew who you were looking at. Every time someone coming in with that new namaste, namaste, here's what we should worship. I was like, you must know nothing about me, because I definitely don't do the worships. I don't do worships. I have compassions. I have relationships. I have all those kind of shit, but I don't do the worships. There's no reason in me flying around hearing no Klingon warbird. That's not how I get. That's not where I'm going with this. You see what I mean? And then we got also, remember, around you are also those that toil night and day. They've built an entire construct. This is the external kingdoms. All they do is they just invert. So this knowledge is just inverted, and they bring out an external version. They bring out the siddhas, or the cities. Okay, so remember the word siddhas, S-I-D-D-H-A-S, is where we get our word city, C-I-T-I-E-S. And this is a reference to the powers, okay? So they make these external power centers, which you're calling the cities, right? And then people gravitate towards the cities, just like they should be gravitating to their own power internally, okay? And utilizing that to assist, heal, and do what is necessary with the tribe. But instead, there's an external version, right? And then all the power is residing in these cities in downtown, which we call the center of the vortex, because all the ley line work has been done by those who are attempting to bring their false heaven onto earth, those who claim to be master builders and are not. They are only but traders amongst us, are continuously building their constructs using the ancient knowledge and acting like it belonged to them, fooling everyone to think that the gods that they're involved with are the same as our ancestors. Whatever they can do, whatever lie that they can tell to get people to do one thing: divide, worship, and give their power away. This has never been about that. We have a word we started off in the beginning: understanding. Stand inside. I don't need to know who you are. I don't need to know anything about you. You can come and get all this knowledge, and it's absolutely free. It's been here for 10 years, and you can wax strong. This is only a synthesis of what we bought over this last period of time. If you want to get involved physically, you know where we're at. We're over in ambassador training. We're getting to it. We're continuously creating more things for us to get into the physical reality to have a purpose, because we're legendary, meaning that I'm going to leave. I doubt that not. I hope it happens, in fact. I wouldn't want to get stranded off on an island on the rim of the cosmos. I'd rather be sitting right in the center with all of the ancestors, enjoying and basking in the light of all of us together. Okay? So, but while I'm here, I will utilize this time, because I've been given an allotment and a time and a space and a voice and a few other things to begin to actually do what I need to do, which is honor my ancestors, the ones that DNA that's coursing through me. That's what I'm utilizing here in order to assist us all. These are the ropes, right? DNA is ropes, chains even. So what are those for? For you to be playing around with them all day? You want to just be high and holy and float in your room in a corner like Yoda and throw lightning from your hands like a Sith Lord? Is that what you want? That's going to even get boring, just as what it would do on a video game. You're actually utilizing all these things to actually see the real impacts and effects in the reality that's going on around you. Okay? So that's what this is all about. This is where you'll find, especially as you're working more and more to have the ability to get with the children. See, not everybody even has the ability to get with the children. Many people steal their way into that. But I'm actually talking about being able to really be ordained to work with the children, because the joy that comes from a fresh star as you're mentoring it on its course. so that it, like Khalil Gibran says, like you can shoot the arrow and then it keeps going straight. And then to see that across infinity and to know that you were also involved in impacting that, that is the true honor and joy. That's why you would see the elders with the young folks teaching them, this is what you do. This is how you ride the horse. This is how you shoot the arrow. This is how you be courageous. This is how you be proper. This is what ladylike is. This is what being respectful is to your ancestors. This is what all this is. This is what etiquette is. Those are all the things that our ancestors would get in and teach. Now we have to come back in and stop listening to like one of these clothing lines. It was like a dark future. You got dark future. You got Lil Yachty and all the rest of these. Everything is little. Notice how everything is little, 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 little. After big, there was only little after that. Like, just notice the play. You know what I mean? Is you go from a Diana Ross or a Patti LaBelle to eventually a Mary J. Blige and then a Mariah Carey, to end up at a Nicki Minaj and a Cardi B and a Bad Barbie. I mean, that's a slippery slope. Like, it's obvious that, you know, it reaps what it sows. So I'm just saying, you can look in the reality and see why it wants everybody to slide down like the snake going down further and further. You had to be ready to wise up and rise up. And there's only one channel for that. That's why we called it years ago, uploaders. I'm not a downloader. I'm an uploader. I don't need anything to download anything. Like, I got it already inside me. I'm about to upload this stuff. And then also another gift is, and I just want to make sure I cover everything. This is, you know, our 2020 conversation or before 2020. Also, one of the rewards is when you figure this out, you can, when you go into those spaces, you get a taste. It's called the taste because you do come back. You come back into the division until this contract is terminated here, right? Which you call your lifespan, right? Which is your orbit. The orbit, okay? It's the orbit. Your orbit is your lifespan. That is the contract, okay? So while you're in the orbit, these are the times that are allotted for you to do these things. And so anyway, let's do the giveaway. So if you want to be a part of today's giveaway, which is 10 gifts, 10. So that increases the ratios here exponentially of anybody here being able to receive either, let me read them out today. It's going to be, we have one colloidal iridium. Get yourself together. Particle sizes looking great. Small particles going right into the cells. Iridium, which is actually mostly found in space. Major level of communication. So we have the colloidal iridium. We also have one bottle of monatomic gold, super deformed nuclear hybrid. You know, they got them. People are scared of that now. Oh, the Anunnaki, they fed themselves. I'm like, okay. All right, so you're telling me this stuff is, I'm telling you, if you don't get yourself onto the highest level, then none of this stuff is going to do anything for you anyway. These are just accoutrements to the quest. They assist with conductivity. So we have some monatomic gold here. We're the only people that produce these elements of pure monatomic gold, not that dried up seawater that tears out your gut, but real monatomic gold. We'll have one bottle of monatomic gold. We'll have 4 university courses. That's like the equivalent of 3, 6, 9, 12. That's $1,200 worth of courses. Either semester 1, semester 2. It's your choosing, and you can also gift it if you have it already. We're going to give 4 golden intonations to also winners, and those are, of course, the perfect ratios track that we put together. That, you know, is that crescendo. That's why it sounds like THX, but better. Like you're going into it and it just keeps going. You just keep going into it. And that's that perfect ratio balancing up all the chakras and the organs. So that's what's going to be going on with that. And all you got to do is just comment. You got to have a comment in within the last 5 minutes. It says that right now there are eligible users. So this means that this thing is working today, unlike last week where they tried to clown me on this thing. I was like, geez. Can't even give away no gifts. All right, so I'm gonna stack it up for next time. So here we are, and they're here. And also, yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll give some final words, and then we'll go into this. Now, I trust that you've been able to grow today with some of this. That it's very linear, very clear. I worked to do that today. Just here's some images. Here's what it looks like. This is why you want to achieve balance. I've talked about it in so many different ways, shapes, and forms, especially during this series. So many have got it in different ways, but so this should actually be more or less the icing on the cake to give you the clear evidence and the clear proofs that this is going to work out for you. Or work in for you, I guess. That would be the better term. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start this right now. And so I'm going to roll it. Let me go ahead and open up the screen so everybody can see what's going on. You see here. Is it over here? Is it over here? Is it over here? Okay, there we are. Okay, so what you're looking at is Nightbot doing what bots do best, which is just repetitiously follow, subscribe, repeat. What Nightbot's doing is it's now recorded 381 people today that have all contacted us within the last 5 minutes. And it is putting you in as an entry. Wow, we got 1,000 people, 1,000 stack. Okay, we're doing it now. We up 200 people. That's great. I love to see it. I love to see when people up on it. I love to see people expanding. I love to see our tribe coming together. Like, that's all. It's my pleasure. All right, so here we go. We're going to do it. So I'm going to start rolling off first. And again, we're going to start in the order that I said. So this is going to be for the colloidal iridium. Now, I will say also, if you're a winner of today's giveaway, all you need to do is go to the site and go to the bottom right corner and then just tell us who you are. Tell us what you won. We obviously keep a record over here on this side, and we'll get it assigned to you properly. If you win a physical item, then you'll need to supply us with your address. I'm coming down now. That's what I mean, the grounding out process. Now I got to go back to earth again. Oh, all right, I'll go. Let's take the elevator down. All right. All right. So you'll need your address. You'll need your name if you win a physical item so we can get it shipped to you. And then if you win a virtual item, then all we need is your email address and your name, your last name, of course, and also your name on YouTube so we can verify who you are. And we'll go ahead and get it to you. All right. So let's go ahead and begin. All right, so first, the suspense. Hold on real quick. Hold on. Let me get my stuff together here. Just give me 1 second here. All right. In fact, let me just center myself real quick. Let me bring the two columns together. Fire and water make steam. I'm going to close this space also in relation to the knowledge and the information that we receive from self and co-creation ancestors. Giving us this opportunity, like it was fun also. This is, to me, it's not all about the doom and gloom and the fear. It's been suspenseful at times. There's been love, there's been compassion. There's even been betrayal. There's been remembering. Geez, every word that we have in the English language has created our world. And we've experienced every single one of those. Now we're about to experience what all of that is like together. And so you can only imagine what we're really talking about here. In fact, you can't imagine it. You have to live it. You have to be it. So, just giving honor also to those that joined in today. Thank you so much. And so I'll begin, since I don't want to go over that 5-minute period of those that have been in the entry. So here we go. So colloidal iridium goes today to, roll it, Andres Mendoza, wholeness and balance vibration. Yeah. You have an opportunity now to actually claim this colloidal iridium and to contact yourself consistently in the stars and beyond and to get your system together. Let me go ahead and screen capture this so I know, and I'll keep going with this. Our next gift, which is the monatomic gold, is going to, roll it, Dark Star. All right, that's what's up. 765 Geo. You have won a bottle of super deformed nuclear hybrids produced in a mini collider, monatomic gold, wholeness. You can claim that again at the website. And let me go ahead and screen capture this. Congratulations also to our winners. Do your thing. And we're going to roll it again. And this time, It's for a semester of the university. This is going to happen 4 times. This is the complete semester of the university. This is approximately $300 value. Investment into self. Rolling it again. And that actually goes to Adelia R., Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations. That's that course. You can also give this to a friend if you're already a member of the university, or we can get it to you directly. And so Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations, thank you so much for also joining in and commenting today and holding the space with us. I'm going to keep going at this again. Here we go. One more. Now we're going to Starface Eagle, Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations. You've actually won a complete semester of the university. All right. Make sure I stay on track here. All right, so we're going to roll this again, and here we go. Amber Johnson, Wholeness and Balanced Vibration. Sister, you actually have a tuition to the university, a full ride scholarship onto a semester of your choosing, semester 1 or 2. Thank you so much. You can actually claim your gift with us, and I will make these notations here. I think I have one more of the university. Let me check. All right. And here we go. We're going to roll it again. And it's going to be John Doe. Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations. John Doe, you actually, even though we don't know who you are, you won. I'm sure you'll come forward. Actual full ride tuition for the university semester. Thank you so much for joining in today. It's been amazing to connect. And we're going to keep this going. We got now 4 golden intonations. See, let me make sure I'm doing this properly. Everything's working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Wait, no. We got one more. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, well, who cares? Even if I'm wrong, we'll give away another one. No. All right, so we got one more university going out to add Yogi, Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations, brother. You have a full ride scholarship to the university, semester 1 or 2 of your choosing. And so that should make 4 universities, 1 colloidal iridium, and 1 monatomic gold. And we're going to keep going with this, and we're going to give away 4 golden intonations. And we're going to roll it again. Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations, Don. Looks like you're going to be rising right into it. Thank you so much for tuning in and also connecting into the space with your energy. Holding the space, you've actually now have a golden intonation. You can, again, claim that at the bottom of the site. And Intercom, which is our support center. Thank you so much for connecting. I'm going to keep going with this. Mo Pena, Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations. Thank you so much. You now have a golden intonation to get your meditation on. You could sleep with it. Shoot, you could do anything with it. And it definitely keeps you harmonic, reminds the organs just where they came from. Thank you so much. I'm going to roll it again. Tyra Bledsoe, Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations. Thank you so much for joining in with us and sharing the space with us. You have a golden intonation with us to claim. And we want to say thank you so much again for connecting. Let me keep going with this. Jerison Gomez, Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations. You have a golden intonation to claim with us. All right, so let me look at what I have first. That's 4, 8, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means we have one more golden intonation. So we're going to roll it one more time. And that goes to Yellow by Cosby Monet. All right, Wholeness, you're definitely doing it with a unique name. Thank you so much. You actually have one golden intonation, which we will definitely get to you. Thank you so much for, again, joining in, holding the space. And that's what it is today, family. I do have some final things that I want to let you know about. As I said, this is our last show of this year of Secret Energy podcast. However, we still will be resuming in ambassador training. This is actually the last show because I have quite a few things that I need to get prepared and be on point for as we go into 2020. Some of those things are we're going to be deploying Enealogy. So if you're not a member of the site, that's secretenergy.com, I would definitely join. If you have joined, you haven't been in a while, even since the last site, and you haven't updated your information, that will be necessary for you to join Enealogy. We calculate Enealogy based on the day that you were born on. And if you fill out your profile, it'll get you set up properly. So when we begin to deploy Enealogy, you'll start getting those actionables. And these are things that are going to allow you to not only know more about yourself, but also the techniques and different accoutrements and powers that you can acquire yourself or receive to allow you to come in more balance and awareness of who you truly are. Also, we are looking forward to launching Enealogy Kids after we deploy Enealogy Adults, because it only takes us to repurpose the system for children and to consider how to cause the same level of actionables for children so they can learn who they are. And we can do that at an early age. That way we can get off this treadmill and stop trying to fix things when they're broke and actually prevent them from getting broke in the first place. And we also want to create a stage of Enealogy to begin to deploy in other schools, home schools, private schools, Montessori schools. And we want to actually begin to give these schools this option of being able to use Enealogy Kids as a part of their curriculum to allow children to not just learn about all these different things that are external to them, but also the internal things about themselves and how they have an entire universe inside of them and how to utilize that throughout their lives. Also, we're going to be launching GeoChat. That is, of course, one of our flagships of the new platform. We've just been waiting to get out of beta so we can put in this new chat. And what this chat does is it allows you to see people that are in your area that are also vibing at that same vibration where you're at. And so this could be based on your interest. This is also based on your location. But let's just imagine, just like in some of these apps that you log on to, I think Meetup lets you see who is in your area. This app lets you see the conscious people that are in your area that are also part of the platform. And we feel like this will be an instrumental way at getting more people to begin to link up with each other. And so that's what we have coming. Also, we're going to be employing soul coaches and creating unique assets. And this is a part of ambassador training. You'll need to be with us for a specific period and learning more about yourself through Enealogy. So if you wanted to get involved in this is a great time just to join ambassador training. And what soul coaching is about is like the advancement or the higher level of life coaching. We call it soul coaching, where we give you many of the tools that are necessary to really look into others' lives. And then we also even give you the clientele, because we have so many people coming into our site that also just want to speak with someone directly and to get onto that path themselves of actually coming into balance. So we're going to be deploying Enealogy in conjunction with soul coaching to create something brand new and different. And then also allowing soul coaches and mentoring them into the process of creating what we call unique assets. And that's basically giving you something that can be digitized or put onto the internet to where you can have as a conduit for bringing your uniqueness into the world. So in this way, you'll be fueling yourself and you'll also be fueling others, because inside of our ecosystem, we can promote what you're doing. And there's also a revenue share there in our affiliation. So we've already begun to bring these things together. We already see what the future is as we begin to employ them. And we know that this is going to bring solutions that the conscious community hasn't seen thus far. I also have to spend some time in perfecting the directories. Obviously, some know that we have these directories on our site of all the people who've delivered a message. I actually have been running across quite a few new people, so I'm always adding people to the directory daily. But now we'll begin to put in the proper programming into the directory so it can be sorted by specialty. So if you just want to learn about health, you can click it and you can see all the specialists on health. And of course, this is conscious community wide. And then also you can rate these metaphysical coaches or metaphysical teachers. And that also allows us to understand who's on the level and who's shucking and jiving, and, you know, who should, I think it's going to give us a great level. I know it's going to give us a great level of accountability in what we're saying. It'll also allow us to create posts like the top 5 metaphysical teachers for health. And then we'll be able to really produce that information to you so you can find others who uniquely have a message and are ready to share that message with you, but have been through the vetting process of our entire community saying, yeah, I studied the information, I read the books, it's on point, or nah, that's another one of those games. Don't kid yourself. And that's just going to reflect from what the community says rather than what one person says, just because they have a platform, an outlet to begin to feature these people. I'm Valley Guy. Anyway, also, we will also be cleaning up the site metadata. And this is, of course, reasons why I do have to take a break on these power bills on the podcast. We'll be bringing around a lot of the questions, especially into smaller morsels, which we find to be very useful. I was even listening to some. Our great friend Nepalus has been putting this together for us and breaking these down. Thanks so much to him for doing that. Also, all the pillars and all of the representatives and ambassadors that are inside of our network, thank you so much for holding the space and all the time and the intention that you've also put into the space. But these little videos, or these shortened videos, actually allow us to not only give you material to share with your friends. Also, if you're an affiliate, remember all these materials can be shared. And if a person comes to the platform, looks at these materials, you actually get commissions if they decide to make a purchase. Totally unique. I won't get into that right now, but it basically means that you'll be able to earn a form of income for yourself by boosting others rather than tearing them down or just trying to get them to buy something. In this case, you're giving the knowledge and wisdom to them, and they can go through the process, build current, and actually begin to get things for themselves that'll assist them on the path. And you'll get credit for that because you recommended them coming through the platform. We feel that that's fair because, after all, they wouldn't even know about us if it wasn't for you. And that's how we're handling it. And we're also not putting the burden of you knowing how to sell products and learn how to work computers and all that kind of stuff. It's just as simple as pushing a button. Again, we're going to be cleaning site metadata on hundreds of posts, which we actually haven't bought live yet. We have about 500 posts inside of Secret Energy that have been going on since the resistance. And we have all those posts in draft right now because we're now sorting all those posts based on interest. So that way, when you go to /stream, which is Secret Energy /stream. There's stuff there now, but you get the energy of the day based on Eneology, which tells us what energy is coming across for the day. So you're not just reading all this random information. You're actually reading information that is based on the energy that is coming across for that day. So remember, I designed the platform so that it actually wastes less of people's time, that it's not a whole goal of getting everybody there like on Facebook or Instagram. You spend all your day scrolling through pictures. GeoChat is to get you to link up with people in the physical, and the stream is actually allowing you to get to the information that you need, so you get that information, you move on. Also, there is Cosmic Energy, which also gives you the energy of the day and lets you learn how to dial in from your color, your frequency, etc. You can check that out. And there's also Real Search. This is stuff that's in there now. Real Search will allow you to search based on any keyword, and then you'll get all of the videos that we've talked about that keyword. So if you want to know about something specific, Real Search is the way to go, because by the time you go through about 8 videos, if you was Kundalini you were asking about, after 8 videos of me talking about Kundalini, you're going to be like, yeah, I know everything about Kundalini. I guess the only thing left for me to get this thing activated, and you'll be on your way. So it's to shorten the period of time that you're spending in any of these platforms or in front of these screens, so that way you can get into yourself. All right. And then also you can get into assisting others in life after you make that perfection of understanding yourself. Lastly, we're going to be translating a lot of our content into Spanish and Mandarin. This is a big move, but predominantly through the captions, meaning that in these videos, there's always captions. We use those captions, and you can search through those captions with Real Search. But I just figured out the other day, one of my friends, he's my barber. You see, he hooked me up. That boy, he's doing good over there. I'm in another country too, because you never know, over here. This ain't like it's Puerto Rico or something. This kind of hair is a little rare over here. Anyway. So what happens is that he was telling me, he's like, yo, man, he didn't speak complete English. And he was like, man, you talk so fast. And, I can't really get a grip on it. And I was like, well, what about the captions? And I was like, there's got to be some Spanish captions. And so I was Googling this while I was in the barber chair. And I found a lady, and she was talking about it. And she had all the captions inside of her video. And so I went to ours, and we didn't have those captions. So I'm like, why isn't YouTube creating this 51 language captions for us too? And I found out that they deprecated that feature. But you can go personally, which we will be doing. We'll go personally and take all of our videos, download the SRT files or the caption files, and then we'll take those files and put them into these 2 different languages and re-upload them into YouTube. And so what this will equal, we'll make an update also to Real Search, but it'll equal, there'll be a Spanish and a Mandarin button for our Spanish speaking folks and our Mandarin speaking folks to actually begin to search through our content that we've created in their own language to be able to get this knowledge and this information. We feel like this is big. It's not heavy lifting as far as on the technological side. It just takes really about 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes when we're already doing post-production on videos to get those captions in. But I know for sure things are moving to China. Like if you've been under a rock for the last 20 years, then you may not know this, but obviously that society is going to be coming up as one of the world leaders, as we know. And it's important that before that, completely sets into the reality, that we do everything that we can to make sure that our brothers and sisters there are getting this message and learn what's going on and are able to activate what is going on inside of them, which is the same thing that's activated and is going on inside of us. So, Wholeness and Balanced Vibrations Tribe, I always have a hard time saying goodbye because I don't ever believe that you need to miss anything because we're always going to be here. You contact me inside. That's all you have to do is go within and you'll find yourself. You'll find me there. You'll find the rest of the tribe too. And yeah, just sending love. That's 2 hours and 21 minutes. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and go on to this thing. Like I said, join us at Ambassador Training. If you're wondering where we're at, we're still over there. Join Specialist Training. If you still have something going on financially, you can't make the commitment, we have that there for you for free. And then also we're continuously building. So we talked about stuff that's done, and then we talked about stuff that we're creating to allow us all to come together so we can get into that center column of self, wholeness.